I am now.
There you go.
I mean, let's start where we already jumped in, man. What do you think about your Giants? More importantly, what do you think about Russell Wilson? You got to saw him in person.
Um, I don't know what I think about Russell Wilson yet. I think that I think that Russell Wilson has certainly redeemed himself
Yeah,
from his time spent in Denver. But I also think that there's just too small of a sample size after the train wreck of a quarterback that he became in Denver. So I think after he's got 4 games under his belt, we can make a better assessment. Just like nobody was like singing the praises of Sam Darnold being 2-0 to start down in Minnesota, nor should they have been. Nobody was singing the praises of Geno Smith after 2 good games. Nobody was singing the praises of Baker Mayfield. You got give it time. Let's see.
yeah,
Is he off to a good start? Sure, 2-0 is always a good start, but I don't think he showed anything truly spectacular. He had a couple of good plays. But he also had a couple of like, where the fuck were you throwing that ball plays too? So I don't know. Not to again, like I said, not to take anything away from him. He got the dubs,
yeah,
right? I need
yeah.
more though.
Yeah, I agree, right? And I don't it's a bold statement, right? And there's still a lot that we need to see with Pickens. But Pickens might be the best receiver he's ever had, right? And that's a bold statement because you got DK Metcalf in there, you got Lockett in there, right? Quality receiver. DK it can be next level, but I don't sometimes he just like he's not top tier. He's not in jet territory. He's not in I'll even throw CD Lamb in there, right? He's not in AJ Brown territory, you know. He's just not doing the things the top tier 5-star receivers are doing consistently, right? Back to Pickens, like just some of the catches he makes. He's that dude. He's him, right? That goes just get the ball in my zone. Here's my zone,
And
right?
he's an
Like
excellent route runner.
you know, throw it. I'll get it.
Hmm.
It's insane.
Yep. Yeah, Pickens is pretty good.
But
He's
they got
pretty
a
good.
defense out there, man.
There's not another team in this league that wouldn't love to have Pickens on their team.
Oh yeah.
Because, I mean, they were trying to push to get Nakua out there or Cooper Cup out there
Yeah.
too, rather. I
Yeah.
don't know what progress that I think that fell apart, to be honest with you,
But you
but that would have been a pretty good
yeah.
tandem.
They were real close to getting Ayuk. Like
They
Ayuk was
were. I
going
forgot
to the
about that.
Steelers, and then Shanahan pulled him into the locker and was like he was gone. He was going to the office to be told that he's being traded, and they had a 2 hour meeting. That's just what I read, and nope, let's re-sign the deal with San Fran. So
Hmm.
it's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, he built his career there. He probably felt a high level of comfort in that system, in that
Yeah,
program. And, it's kind of hard to pack up. Like sometimes we take for granted what it is to
yeah,
change teams, but like they have to hire a U-Haul truck, right? Like get a
yeah,
moving company, get the
yeah.
kids in different schools. Like it's a lot more to it than just like I had a bad week. Like I have bad weeks at work now, right?
Mm-hmm.
I ain't up and moving to California because of another opportunity. So sometimes I think we take for granted what they
Yeah,
have to go through.
I hear that. I hear that.
Mhm.
I'm not going to speak on Giants, right? Like I'm not here
Mhm.
to rub salt in the wound, right? Like it's just,
Go for it, brother.
I mean, what more can I say, really, though, Atticus?
Mhm.
Right? Like, I mean, I think that I think you guys have a solid defense, but it has holes, right?
Mhm.
And I'm sure they'll continue to try to address that. You're hurt a little bit, having not having Thibodeau hurts. I think you're not as secure on the back end as you used to be. I think similar. It's almost similar to how I felt about the Eagles for a few years, right? Like up front, fantastic. But if another team can contain up front, like you got holes and you're susceptible. Um, it's just they are what they are. And my opinion's not changed on the Giants. They're 2-6 right now. I think I said 5 games at the start of the season.
Hmm.
And I was trying to be realistic with that. I think I'm probably pretty close to that, unless something
Hmm.
drastic happens. Um, and we've talked about the whole quarterback situation, and I agree with you. Unless they wind up with a top three pick and they have a quarterback that they want to go get, and right now I'm hearing the top three are Cam Ward out of Miami, Shador Sanders out of Colorado, and I like that kid more and more. Right, like he's got some polish. Obviously, he's got his dad to kind of coach him to talk to media, but they've been pressing him a lot about the Heisman and not being in that Heisman name, right? And he's like, well, we got two dudes, right? They're not going to give it to both of us, right? So Travis is the best. He says he's the best receiver in college. So um, and he's real humble about it. I don't know what he says behind screen, but you know, they got him two, and I think they have the third quarterback going off the board
Jalen Merrill,
from
Jalen Milrow, probably.
they had Drew Lair from Penn State going seven to the Raiders
Huh.
in a mock draft that I read, and
So
he's a quality quarterback.
if you started talking about the Giants defense, I think the Giants defensive line ranks amongst one of the top in the league. There's just that much talent on that line. Dexter Lawrence physically picks players up
Yeah,
and throws them out of the way. There was a triple team on Dexter Lawrence last week where they had the snapper, the left guard, plus the back, all trying to block him. He blew through all three, created pressure on Russell Wilson, forced him outside. Burns came in and he and Aziz Ojolari cleaned it up and got the sack. But you said that missing Thibodeau was an issue. I don't really think so. Aziz Ojolari has
yeah,
6 sacks, and he only played 4 games and he's got 6 sacks. So I think that the defense, now when you look at the levels, the defensive line is great. The linebacker play is decent. I'm going to say center to decent as opposed to center to not good. And then our secondary is just not good.
nah.
It is not good. Tay Banks is a liability. We've got some good players back there who I really like. They picked up Drew Phillips in the second or third round. Drew Phillips, he's a cornerback. He's pretty good. And then we picked up, I can't think of his name right now. Uh, Safety. He was the number one rated safety coming into the draft. And Tyler Nubin. Tyler Nubin is really good, but these guys are raw and they got a
Yeah,
lot to learn. So if there are those plays where the defensive front isn't putting enough pressure, or if the quarterback is a scrambler and gets out of the pocket, they're going to find somebody open to get the ball to. And that's a problem. As
and
far as the
and
quarterback
Daniels,
position,
yeah,
I just wanted to mention like I want Jalen Milrow, right? Like I've been doing a deep dive on some of these quarterbacks in anticipation of the draft. Yeah, I'm doing draft work already. It's only week 8. I get it, but I know where we are, right? Now I've looked at Cam Ward, Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milrow, Carson Beck, and Shador Sanders as the top 5 players who has interested me. And if it's not Jalen Milrow or Shador Sanders, I don't want them. The film work that I've done on these guys, not only are they capable, and some people are really frowning on Shador Sanders, and I think it has everything to do with the fact of where he comes from, being Deion Sanders' son. than his talent. Because if you just look at the player, he is good.
Hmm.
He is really good. I don't know if he's Jalen Milroe good, but he's good. But between the two of them, that's where I want us to spend our draft capital and secure the quarterback. And if you can't get either one of them, I'm not taking a chance on Carson Beck. I like Carson Beck. I think Carson Beck is not going to fit in the Dable system as well as a Jalen Milroe or Shador Sanders. And then Travis Hunter, you brought him up. In my opinion, he's hands down Heisman Trophy winner. He needs to go in the top 10 spots of the draft, if not number one. He is that freaking good. And then there's another kid that I was looking at, T Mac, that
Yeah.
receiver out of who's he play for? Is it New Mexico or something like that? He's incredible,
Mm,
man. This guy had a 300 receiving yard game.
mm,
One game, 300
mhm.
receiving, and it wasn't a fluke. He's just good with his hands, a good route runner. He knows how to get open, and he knows he does the scramble drill better than anybody I've seen in college football. Quarterback's in trouble. He knows where to find a soft spot in the zone and make it easier for his quarterback to find an open receiver to throw the ball to. So, but yeah, I've been watching some stuff and looking at some things, but I'm preparing for the draft.
Don't skip over Cam Ward out of Miami, right? Like I don't know if I didn't hear you mention him.
I did. He was one of the
Okay,
five I mentioned.
okay, all
Hmm.
right. You
Yep.
know,
I said
'cause-
Cam Ward, Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe, Shador Sanders, and Carson Beck. Those are the five who I did some deep
yeah,
dive work on.
and I feel the same way about Ewers that you do about Carson Beck, right? Like I think both of them will be have an opportunity potential to be decent quarterbacks in the NFL, right? But for what you're saying and what what the Giants need to do, right? Like the way that they can really excel is to have that quarterback that's multi-talent, right? And can get outside the pocket and make plays. Your
And
your
when the
guy was
line
Jaden Daniels.
doesn't do its job,
Yeah,
who can break the pocket and still make a play? I don't see that as
yeah.
much with Beck as Milroe is definitely on my
Oh yeah.
top
Oh yeah.
list as far as the quarterbacks who I see who can the play breaks down, he's still going to turn it into positive
Yeah.
yards. Shador Sanders, I think Shador Sanders, while he's really good at that also, he wants to be more of a pocket
Hmm.
passer. And I don't know if it's because he wants to prove something. He's good as a pocket passer, but I like him being interchangeable and be able to pick up
Yeah.
yards on the ground and through the air. So, but Jalen Milroe, he's just
Hmm.
so smart, man.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah.
And if you can't get one of those two, in
Hmm.
my opinion, you listen, you keep Daniel Jones another year, but you go after the Travis Hunter. You go after those holes in your secondary. You go after your tackle positions that you have not satisfied yet. That's where you build. And then the next year, you find your guy, you get your guy because you got all the other pieces that you need in place in order to start building your team the right way.
Yeah. Talking about that kind of quarterback, right? Like the Giants are facing one of those this week for the second time
Hmm.
this season, right? They're facing Jaden Daniels. Now, he's got a rib injury, so it's there. It's not going away. He's playing through it. And I don't see a problem for the Giants causing havoc on the front line, getting him out of the pocket. Problem is he can make plays out of the pocket, right?
Yes, he can.
So, I mean, I don't see. It would be crazy for me to say the Giants are going to win this game, right? But I'm feeling kind of crazy this weekend, right? And I'm going to be that guy, right? Like this is going to be one of those games that the Giants shouldn't win, that they're going to win.
Yeah, I think the Giants are going to win this game. I think for whatever reason, I don't know if it was the way the stars were aligned when the Redskins changed their names to the Commanders or from Washington football team to the Commanders or whatever.
Yeah,
But Daniel Jones has been their daddy. He was their
Yeah.
daddy when they played him the last time. He
Hmm.
threw two tutties. There was a rushing touchdown. The only reason they lost that game because the Giants head coach didn't have a kicker on the roster. Fucking idiot. If they'd have had a kicker, they'd have won the game. They did everything. They let listen, Washington scored on every possession the last time they played, but it was a field goal.
Yep.
Every single possession. The Giants scored on each of their possessions except for one. And the only reason they didn't is because they didn't have a kicker.
Hmm.
The Giants may not be a better team, but they just play the Commanders perfectly
Yeah.
every time, with the exception of the last one. They're going to win this game. And they
I like
shouldn't
it.
win, but they're going to win it.
I mean, it's a home game for the Giants. Vegas is giving 4 to the Redskins. On
Won't
paper,
matter.
4 looks low, right? Like on paper, this should be a touchdown or more spread,
Should
right?
be.
So when Vegas is saying 4, I'm like, huh. Vegas knows what they're doing. They built a business off this for damn near 100 years, right? Like, that's just the way it goes. So they know what they're doing. So when I look at that, I'm like, they know something else that's going on, right? Like, because on paper, Commanders should wipe them up, right? It
They
just should
should.
happen. So
Mm-hmm.
4 is low to me. So that led into my call that the Giants are going to win this game, and just like I think they're going to get to Jaden Daniels, and I think they're going to rattle him a little bit, right? Like, I mean, the kid is good. I'm not taking anything away from
I
him,
like
but
Jaden
but
Daniels.
the Giants got some speed on that front line, right?
Yeah.
They got a lot of speed, right? And they've been getting to the quarterback all season. So I
The
don't see
Giants
that
just have to
changing.
do a better job at containing because that interior pressure is going to come.
Yeah,
It has all season for
yeah.
opposing teams, and the edge rushers are doing what they're supposed to do.
Hmm.
Bobby Okereke and Micah McFadden has to secure that inside that A and C gap on that line. They have to
Yeah,
make sure Jaden Daniels does not have an escape route. If they can do that, they're going to be okay.
yeah.
And I
And
think they
don't
can.
give
The
them
rib
13
injury,
seconds to throw a Hail Mary.
God, what was it, 13 seconds or something like
13
that?
seconds.
Oh my God.
And a heavy block in the back, right? Like there was a heavy block in the back. Like that's, I don't know why they didn't throw a flag on that, right? But
I
like
know.
you can't truck a dude from behind.
Well,
That's not,
you can when you ride the Jaden Daniels hype train.
you know, but the fact that Chicago Bear cornerback was talking trash while the play was happening with the stands,
Fucking idiot, bro.
you deserved that, right? Like if there's ever instant karma, it's that moment right there.
Yep.
Because he's the
And
one
I
that
hope you
actually
feel
tipped the
bad
ball.
forever.
He's the one that tipped the ball.
Yeah. Yep.
So again, let's move on,
How
right?
about those Eagles, though?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was a really good win, right? It didn't start out that way. It looked like it was going to be one of those Sundays where shit, we're going to have to ink one out by, a field goal or whatever it is, right? But then I don't know, something just started clicking
And once it clicked, the clicking started clicking quicker. And
quicker.
it was an avalanche
I mean, what have
that
I
the
been
Bengals
saying
could
all
not
along?
overcome.
What have I been saying for weeks now, right? Let Jalen get out of the pocket. Let him run the ball a little bit more. Let him dink and dunk to his 2 all-star receivers. Let them get yards after the catch. Occasionally go over the top, but throw the ball 20 times. Let him run 9, 10 times a game. And then just hand the ball off to Saquon. Because Saquon, you know, he was getting 4, 5, 3, 5, 6, right? He was getting a good, decent, average per carry, and then he's going to bust 2, and then he's going to
Yeah.
bust another one,
That's
and
been
he
his
is
career.
so quick outside around the end. Like I didn't think he was going to, that play where he trucked a dude on like the 5-yard line. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember Saquon running angry like this. I mean, you would
Yeah,
probably know better.
no, I think you're right, man. He is, you know what I think it is too, is a part of it is probably because the running back position has been devalued a little more than I think it should have been. Like I understand the logic behind reducing the value on a player that takes that type of punishment week in, week out, where everybody's who's trying to hit you is trying to put you on a poster, right? I get it. And the way he's running, it's like, fuck all that. This is why you pay me,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
And he's doing it at a point in a running back's career where you see them normally making business decisions.
yeah,
Like, I know how to get hit and preserve my body. He's like, no, I'm gonna hit you and make you think about preserving your body.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
playing well, man. You got to
And
give it to him.
I love it,
Hmm.
and he is a hype train as well. I don't remember him talking so much shit. Now it's definitely
Yeah,
more
but he does it the right way too.
he does, but like he doesn't stop talking.
So you can back it up. So why not?
And I was like, has he always done this? Like, obviously, it's more visible to me now because, you know,
When you're winning.
I watch and I watch mainly Eagles stuff, right? So like this stuff is coming to light for me. Like I never got into watching, mic'd up on the sidelines with the Giants. Just
Yeah,
never been my thing. But
right.
he's hyping up everybody. Like,
Yeah,
he's
he's
like,
always done that.
let's run it again, tush push. I don't care that Jalen's taking it in. Let's run that shit again. Let's do it again.
Hmm.
Let's line up, coming right at you. Let's go. And then talking shit afterwards with the DB. Like I got mine already. And you missed an open field tackle, right? Like that's some nice shit right there. And then he was telling Jalen Carter before a game, he's like, why not today, man? They can't stop you. He's hyping up the defensive line.
Hmm.
He's all about it, man. I mean, I couldn't be and this is not me rubbing salt in the wounds because you got to enjoy him for 6 years, but like I am beyond ecstatic that he's on the Eagles, right? Because he's that dude, right? And it
Well,
like
how can you not be? I mean, the
everybody.
guy's averaging almost 6 yards a carry.
Yep,
6 yards per carry, over 100 yards a game.
yep.
For the first time, these are the best statistics that he's had in his entire career. I'd say maybe aside from receptions, I think he's probably either in line or a little below where he normally is. And but definitely in terms of his rushing production. And I haven't watched a lot of what he's done in pass pro, but I just don't get to watch enough of the Eagles football games. But I imagine that's not an issue because we're not hearing anything about it. And at one point he wasn't as good as he needed to be, but he did improve with that.
I think there's just too many weapons for him to get the receptions. Like he doesn't need to catch the ball out of the backfield, right?
Yeah.
And they might just be holding on to that for a little bit, right? Like we're going to get teams really comfortable not thinking that we're looking at Saquon because I think he's got 11 receptions on the season so far, right? Which you would say is low.
17.
17.
17.
17 receptions coming, what is it? They're
Week 8 now.
week 8.
Week 8 for you guys because you had a
Yeah.
bye already.
So like two a game, you know, but he's not the only point of the offense,
Of course not.
you know.
When you
And
got
in
Dallas
years
Goddard
prior,
out there, I mean, you guys got a lot of weapons on offense. So
even the dude that's backing up Goddard right now until Goddard comes back from his hammy,
Calcetra or something,
Calcantara,
Calcaterra, he's
and
pretty good.
he's good, and Jalen
Hmm.
just catches him in stride every time because
Hmm.
no one's paying attention to him.
Yeah,
All the attention's going to D. Smith and AJ.
yeah.
Yeah, you still got this other dude to contend with. You know, so I mean, I'm 37 was it for me. I was like, damn. Here
And
we
you really didn't see it happening, right? I mean, you saw it, but it's like, holy shit, they put up how many points? It
37.
happened so like it was really hard to score initially, but once it came, it was just like tick, 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 tick. Like, wow.
Here's what I like even better. Like Joe Burrow is still Joe Burrow. He's still a top five quarterback in the NFL right now. Right now. Right. If you when I look, you know what stat I look at. I look at QBR and I look at passer rating, quarterback rating, right? But Joe Burrow's in the top five, right? Like that's his deal. He's still that guy. They only gave up what, 17 points?
17 points.
17 points?
Yep. 17 points. Joe Burrow, 26, 37, 234, one tutty, one INT.
And the rookies made plays. Like they're pretty good, right? Like they're Cooper DeJean is like his football IQ is incredible, and
Well, we talked about him all year.
his
I mean,
speed
he
to
comes
break
up
to the
every week
ball,
when we talk.
yeah. Quinion Mitchell is just shutting dudes down, right? Like he has one of the top ratings as a cornerback in the NFL right now as a rookie, and both of these guys are shining. Slay's not playing today. I'm not super worried about it, right? At all, to be honest. Now, Slay is that guy, right? Always has been, always will be, right? But he's getting a little older, he's getting a little nicked up. So the fact that they got DeJean and Mitchell in the back end, and then Rogers, who had to take a year off for gambling, he's coming in. He made a big play, and I'll tell you right now, the fact that he purposely tipped that INT to Gardner Johnson was that swagger that the Philly defense needed, right? Like they've been playing well last
Out
few
there getting cute.
weeks. They've been playing well the last few weeks, but they haven't been getting the ball, right? They haven't been creating turnovers.
They've been starting slow, but
Yeah.
finishing strong.
Yeah. So
That's
here's
what
my
I've
thing.
noticed.
Like I'm not all back in yet on Nick Sirianni or Jalen Hurts, right? I still think that Nick's a problem, but I'm gonna make a statement right now. I could be wrong because it sounds like the locker room likes him and likes him to be wild and crazy. They get down with that for whatever reason. That's coming from Barkley,
Hmm.
and winning obviously cures a lot of ills, right? So if there is friction in the locker room, you're winning ball games. So everything's going to be a little bit better. So I'm still a little standoffish, but they should put a 40 burger on Jacksonville tomorrow, in my opinion. No, without a doubt. Like you know, they should cane whip Doug Peterson and his entire team. Like that's just the way I feel. Jacksonville is not a good football team. It's in Philadelphia.
Yeah, I'm looking at
They're
that.
they're putting Shady in the Hall of Fame, so they'll be a little hyped up. There'll be some former players in the building, you know. Just they right now, what are they? 7.5? I think that's low. But I'll take 7.5. That I mean, they should win the ball. That's what that tells me, one way or the other. And Trevor Lawrence, for all intents and purposes, he's not playing that bad, right? Like he's got almost 2,000 yards passing. He's got like 11 tutties to 4 interceptions. You know, he he's not playing bad as a quarterback.
Their larger problem is their defense.
Yeah,
They're at the bottom of the league. They can't stop nothing. They can't stop a
nothing,
fucking nosebleed.
nothing. Like I'd like to see a 200-yard game from Saquon.
Hmm.
That's what I'd like to see. I mean, I'll take it from anybody to be honest, but like I like watching Saquon run the ball.
Mhm.
But
Yeah,
I got them winning this game hands down.
winning big
You know,
as they should. Yeah.
as they should, and they should put a 40 burger. If they put a 40 burger up on the Jags, I can take a deep breath, right? And looking at the rest of the schedule, there's some bad games coming up, right? It's not an easy road rest of the way based on how teams are playing right now. I mean, they got the Jags, then they're at Dallas, and then they have the Commanders, right? So that's I don't care what Dallas is doing right now. Anytime you go to Dallas, it could be a problem. But
Yeah,
it's
it's a problem for Dallas because everybody's putting up 40.
then they got the Rams in LA, but they own the Rams in LA, so I'm not worried about that game. And then they're at the Ravens, and I'll be at that game.
That should be a good one.
That should be a really good.
Can't believe they lost to Jameis Winston last week. Now, Jameis ain't a bad quarterback, but I didn't see that coming.
I didn't see that coming.
Mm-mm.
I
No.
mean, and I think that they should let Jameis Winston do post game interviews all day long, even when he's not playing.
Well, you want to see him spit more Eminem?
Like that white boy up the road, like Jameis. Come on now,
Pay homage.
paid homage, and then quoted some lyrics.
Oh no, that was so funny.
I
That
was
was
like,
funny.
this dude is ridiculous, man.
I know.
You know,
Hey, look, he's another one, right? You talked about, these different quarterback, Russell Wilson, and is he back? Like if Jameis Winston finds a way to beat the Chargers tomorrow, which is possible, right?
mhm.
Are we going to have that same conversation about him? Who knows, man?
Who knows, right? I mean, his thing was, and then he never got an opportunity after a while afterwards. Like when he was in Tampa Bay,
He was shafted when he went to the Saints.
it was
Period.
pre LASIK surgery. He says, I couldn't see. He's quoted as saying, I thought Bruce Arians was black until I could see again. And, and Bruce Arians responded to him and said, well, that explains a lot, man. I thank you for introducing me to your people. That was great.
Oh man.
I mean, it's comical, right? Like I
Yeah.
need that dude on the mic. And then he got shafted in the Saints, and he's just kind of been in the doghouse, right? So we don't know. He's still a young dude. Let's not forget he was the number one draft pick.
He was. He was. I never thought I mean, he threw some picks, but he took risks. He put up points,
Yeah,
but he's going to give you 2 or 3.
and he's an athlete, right?
And he's
Like
an
he
athlete.
played college baseball too at Florida State.
Mm.
So he's I mean, we'll see. I'm not going to get all hyped up. I'm not certainly
I
not going
could
to
see
support
them
the
beating the
Browns.
Chargers tomorrow. I can see it. Now, if Deshaun Watson was in there, I couldn't see it. But I could see it with Jameis Winston.
I mean, they just need to find a way to just let Deshaun Watson go away. Like,
Yeah.
don't even try to make a comeback.
I got a question for you, though. Speaking of Dallas and Jerry's world,
Yeah,
Kirk Cousins going to put up 40
on Dallas.
on Dallas.
Huh. I mean, he's been hot, dude. Kirk Cousins has thrown 4 tutties in the last 2 games each. And it took him a second to get his legs back under him because he was, he's coming back off an injury, right? So week one, he wasn't moving, right? But I think that he's got that rust knocked off, and he's starting to play some ball now. It's in Atlanta.
I
I
think they're
don't
going
know.
to thump
Yeah,
Dallas.
yeah, I think they're going to thump him.
I think they're going to thump him. I'll listen. I think that Dak Prescott, as good as he has been, we're starting to see the decline. You brought it up, and maybe it was a season ago or 2 seasons ago. I think we're going to start seeing a decline of Patrick Mahomes, and we didn't see it. We are actually kind of seeing that right now. Their defense is holding them together. But with Dak Prescott, because he's under such a microscope anyway, we see it.
Yeah,
He is not the same. And they don't
no,
have the same punch from their running game.
no.
Their secondary is not, their defense is not what it was. Mike Parsons hasn't been playing.
Mm-hmm.
That Dallas Cowboys team, Listen, they're a shade above the Giants and two steps below the Eagles.
Yeah,
And shit, the Commanders might be better than them.
I think
I,
they
I
are.
would say are.
I would say they are.
Mm-hmm.
You
It's
know,
hard for me. It's just for so many years of mediocrity and subpar football, borderline an NFL team with the Commanders. It's hard for me to automatically give them what they've earned, right?
they're
But
they're
they
on
are.
they're they're on that cicada cycle though, right? Like they come out every 7 years,
Mm,
and they have a couple decent years in a row, and then start over again, right? Like that's
mm-hmm,
just been their MO, and
mm-hmm,
and maybe that changes with the ownership change and that shift, right? But like that's what they've done. If you look at the last 25 years in the NFC East, I about every 7 years, the Washington pops their head up and says, "Oh, look at us, we're here,"
mm-hmm.
and then they go back away.
Yeah,
You
I
know,
like the direction that they've been heading though with the new ownership. I mean, they were just like Hot Mess Express, like just
yeah,
a fucking train wreck of an organization. They needed to sell
yeah,
that franchise and get some new blood in there because what was his name? Dan Snyder?
yeah,
He was
terrible.
he was a mess. Oh my, he should have never been let into the league of gentlemen, if you will,
Yeah,
called the NFL. His he just did not fit, and he just put stain after stain.
yeah,
Didn't they have like mass orgies or some shit like that at
yeah,
different places? Force cheerleaders to take
yeah,
nude pictures, and
yeah,
oh my God,
yeah,
just terrible.
yeah. Made
Yeah.
Jerry Jones look, like a altar boy.
Really did. And that's not a hard, I mean, that's a very difficult thing to do.
Oh yeah.
So, what
Um,
about Baltimore and Denver? Yeah, I think that big Knicks energy is gonna deflate a little bit. Baltimore's got a lot to prove. Their fans are pissed. You lost to the Browns and a backup quarterback in Jameis Winston who hasn't touched the field in a year and a half or whatever it's been. What do you think's gonna happen there?
I think the Ravens beat the brakes off the Broncos. That's what I think. I think they just beat them down.
I think the Denver Broncos are going to have their hands full trying to stop Derrick Henry, and
Mm-hmm.
they're going to fail. That's what I think. You got the number one offense in the league. They got the number one rushing attack, the number four passing attack. But the Denver Broncos is ranked seventh in total defense, while the Ravens are 26th. I don't think that's going to matter much. Bo Nix gives the ball away. He's got five turnovers this year.
Mm-hmm.
He
Mm-hmm.
has been playing better as of late, but the Ravens are playing at home. They got a lot to prove this week. Not even a lot to prove, but they need to show that no, we are not the train wreck that we showed last week against Cleveland. We are still favored to go, or one of the teams favored to go to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
I really hope the Ravens go to the Super Bowl this year. That'd be nice to see. And I think that, like you said, they're going to truck them. They're going
I
to
think
truck
they're
them.
going to truck them. I think if you use Derrick Henry, and I don't know if Baltimore's really relied on Derrick Henry, right? Like they've had him as part of the game plan, but like not the focal point. But if you feed him, he's one of those other dudes, right? Like I am going to get a seam maybe two or three times in this game, and I'm going to bust out long runs, and they might be tutties.
Mm-hmm.
You
Yeah.
know, like that's going to happen. You're looking at between him and Saquon. I can't, I it's a pick 'em to me, right? Like who would you rather have in your backfield? I'll take either one of them. I can't say I would take one over the other at all because they both are providing almost the same outcome, right? And if
Yeah.
you give him the ball, like you're in trouble, right? And then like Lamar has shown that he can have those games where he's that dude, right? And they went out and got another receiver because he had a couple drop passes in that Cleveland game that shouldn't have been dropped, right?
Mm-hmm.
Hitting a dude right in the chest. Bateman dropped one I saw. Flowers dropped a couple, so
And that's the thing that I was alluding to. Like they've got something to prove. It ain't a whole lot. It ain't a whole lot, right?
no,
That yes, we can and will catch the ball when it matters, right?
yeah,
Yes, and will yes, we will not make the foolish mistakes that we made, the pre-snap penalties and things of that nature.
yeah.
They're a better team. They're better coached. I don't if I take a look at the two teams, even though the Broncos defense is ranked considerably higher than Baltimore's defense, it doesn't matter because they clearly outclassed them in every other statistical category. It won't matter. So you got Buffalo and Miami.
I mean,
Buffalo,
so I think Buffalo should win the game, right? They should, but it's in Buffalo.
I
It's
think
not. It's
Buffalo will win the game.
yeah. I mean, they should win the game. I'm not going to put it past Tua to throw up 400 yards of passing though. If he stays in the game,
Tua's not playing.
yeah, he is.
Is he playing? They said he practiced.
No, I thought he's played.
Is he? I thought I saw something about he's playing, then I saw that he was practicing, and maybe he's not going to be playing. I don't think. Listen, Tua going to play scared. Tua should not be playing football. Period. As far as I'm concerned, I don't see Buffalo winning this game. I just think that it's when you come away from when you okay, he cleared concussion protocol from probably one of the worst ones he's gotten.
Yeah,
He's gonna be playing very different. He has to. I mean, like there's gonna be some business decisions he makes. Getting
he
rid of the
already
ball
played. He played
early.
last week though.
What's that?
He played last week.
And what was I looking at then? Okay, go ahead.
you
Stand
know,
corrected.
so but I agree with you, right? Like I agree. Like there's got to be some level of playing scared. Like, but he threw the ball 38 times last week. you know. And now it's second game back. You get a little bit more of your rhythm back, right? Like it could be one of those. It could be one of those games. It could be
Hmm.
35-31. Buffalo's going to score. They're going to put some points up, right?
Got Amari Cooper now.
You know, will Miami be able to keep up with two in the game? That's the question, right? I mean, they lost to the Cardinals. They lost to Kyler Murray, right, by a last second field goal. Buffalo's not the Cardinals. Buffalo's a
Buffalo's
little bit
defense
different.
is a lot better than
Yeah.
yeah.
So I mean,
Offense.
Buffalo should win this game, 34-20. That's what it should be.
I never joined the Miami hype train. Never did. You can't deny that they were definitely a prolific offense. I mean, they scored like 70 points in a game
They did
last
score
year.
70 points in the game last year. But
And even then,
it's
I
not
didn't buy
consistent.
into them.
It's not consistent, right? It's not I haven't bought into their coach, you know.
No?
No, no.
Yeah.
And there's the Tua factor, right? Like he we both know, right? Like, are you gonna learn to get down and not try to truck a dude, whether it's a cornerback or not? Because that's what took you out last time. Just make a
Yeah, I
business
don't know.
decision. Make a business decision.
And I think there's going to be a lot of business decisions. New Orleans and Carolina.
I mean, these are two bad teams. Bad. New Orleans wins the game. I mean, I'm not even going to pretend to know anything about either one of these teams, other than they're bad and they're vying for a top draft pick in the draft. I think Carolina's the worst team, right? Like New Orleans wasn't bad when Carr was playing, right?
Right.
So they're a good football team. They have a good defense. They can do some things. I mean, they scored 91 points in the first 2 weeks of the season.
Yes, they did.
But you have a different quarterback now, you know, and they've had the injury bug, but they're still a better football team than Carolina.
Is Bryce Young injured or
No,
just
he got benched,
I knew he got benched,
and then
but
Dalton got injured. So now Bryce Young is back in the starting lineup. It's not due to he actually had a decent game last week. He didn't play bad.
do we even want to pick this one?
Do we no?
I'll go with New Orleans. I'm just I don't know. Their uniforms are nicer.
That's right. And I like Charlotte's a nice city though, but New Orleans takes it. Yeah, you can't override New Orleans as a city.
Yeah, no doubt. Cincy and Vegas in Cincy.
I think Cincy wins this
I
game.
think Cincy wins too. You were talking about Joe Burrow, and I've been vocal about how he's one of my favorite quarterbacks and has been for a couple of years now.
Yeah,
He's just he's got such a high football IQ. He is never frazzled. He's been injured and came back, and you think, what's he going to be like? Don't miss a step. I mean, he's just a really good quarterback. I've always liked him, except when they beat us a couple of weeks ago. But even in defeat, like you said, 3-5, he's still putting up top five quarterback numbers this year. And I think Vegas is just a hot mess. I think there's a lot wrong in Vegas. And I can't, I won't begin to try to dissect them because I don't watch them enough. But there's a lot wrong with them. And Cincinnati is just they're a good team who can't seem to win games. I don't even understand it, what's happening with them. But I'm going Cincy for sure.
I think Cincy's probably the best 3-5 football team in the NFL right now,
Oh
right?
yeah.
Without a doubt. And I think that they're better than their record, right? Not to take away from the Eagles. Eagles whooped them last week. That's what happened, right? On both sides of the football.
Hmm.
So, and that's going to happen to teams, right? But the Raiders, I agree, they're a mess, right? They're almost at fire sale point. Any team that signs Gardner Minshew as their starting quarterback in the offseason, like you have to question what's their commitment to excellence, right? Like that's their slogan, commitment to excellence. What is your commitment, right? And I'm not trying to take anything away from Minshew, but he's not a starting quarterback in this league. He's just not that good, right? But when he's your starting quarterback, you got some problems. Joe Burrow's thrown for 1,993 yards right now. He's got 15 tutties to three interceptions. They're going to put some points on the board against the Raiders. The Raiders are not going to put points on the board.
He's on pace for a 4,500 yard season,
Yeah,
barring injury.
yeah. So I got the Bengals winning this one. I got them winning it hands down,
Yeah, yeah.
hands down.
What do you think about Jameis Winston against the Chargers? We kind of talked about it a little bit.
I think the Browns can win this game. It's in Cleveland. I think they ride the hype from last week. One more week. We'll give them one more week.
They're only given
LA's favorite.
favored by 1.5 points.
Yeah.
What does that even mean?
A field goal.
A safety?
Yeah. You know,
I still think, listen, Cleveland's got a really good defense. Say what you want about what's been happening for them offensively, but they've got a decent defense.
decent enough that they got two defensive linemen that are in trade rumors, right? I think they would be legitimately stupid, but we're talking about Cleveland here, so they still might do it, right? To let Miles Garrett go. I don't, unless you are getting a haul back that they can supplement their drafts with, right? That's
Mhm.
the only reason you let him go. But their other dude, 32-year-old, I forget his name. He's the other defensive end. He's rumored as well. He's got a salary friendly contract for teams to pick him up. Like he's being rumored to be on the move. right? So like when you got a couple guys that are being targeted as possible acquisitions for teams in the hunt, you got a good defense.
Mm-hmm.
You do. And
Mm-hmm.
they are a completely different offense
Mm-hmm.
with Jameis Woods, right? They star, right? Deshaun has not shown anything in 2 years to tell me that he is that MVP caliber quarterback he was his first few years in the league, right?
They
He's
are
nowhere.
regretting every day that goes by of that contract.
It's
Every
terrible.
day, every minute. They haven't had a good meal. Whoever authored that deal hasn't had a good meal for years.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, I don't know how this one's gonna play out, but I'm gonna give the nod. I'm gonna ride Jameis Winston on this one. Herbert's not having a bad year, but he's not having a stellar year either. I
No.
just think that the Cleveland Browns are going to be feeling real good this Sunday. They're
Mm-hmm.
going to welcome these Chargers into town. And I think the Chargers are going to end up being 500 and the Browns are going to be 3-6. That's what I think. I
Yeah.
don't know what the score is going to be. I don't know, but
I don't know what the score is going to be either, but I think it could be a field goal game to the
hmm
Browns' favor.
yeah.
Just a tight ball game. But again, like I'm riding that Winston wave one more week. I'll give it
Yeah.
one more week, right?
LASIK works.
And then all bets are off after that. LASIK works. What
New
about the
England and
Bears and Cardinals?
Tennessee. Bears Cardinals?
Yeah,
I don't know, man. Little man's playing okay this year, but Caleb, God, to be a Chicago fan this whole week, God, you're just sick for him. You're sick for the whole team, right? Like they were there. They were right there, Mike. But little man Kyler Murray he isn't playing bad this year.
nah.
I,
Caleb
you know
Williams
what?
QBR is under 50, right?
I
That's not good.
I know. But he's
That's
been
not good.
playing better as it's been slowly climbing.
He's been
It's been
playing
slowly
better, but
climbing.
he still has some tendencies that don't translate well to the NFL, right? He gets a little. Remember Neo O'Donnell? Remember
Mm-hmm.
him?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Different quarterback completely, right? But Neil had this thing where he started flapping his wings when he was in the pocket feeling pressure, right? Like get away from me, that kind of thing. He was a good quarterback, right? But like if you put some pressure on him, he was not good, right? So Caleb Williams is not quite that level of not good when he gets pressured, but he definitely doesn't have 10 seconds to scramble around and make a play like he did in college, right? Like you
Mm-hmm.
you got to make quicker decisions, and when he's making these decisions quicker, he's not accurate. It's not happening,
And
right?
the irony is he was supposed to be the NFL ready quarterback coming out of college out of all the QB draft picks that were on the board. So,
I mean,
but I don't know. I think that Kyler Murray has really found his rhythm again. And I don't see Chicago winning this game. I think they were brought back down to reality that they've got some building to do. And you thought they were going to steal one last week. I don't think they're going to steal one this week. I think Arizona takes it. It's going to be a close one, but I think Arizona takes it.
Kyler Murray's number 3 in the league QBR, playing good football.
Yeah.
You know, I think they beat the Bears. It's in Arizona. They don't have to go to Chicago. You know, I don't want to play at Soldier Field. So,
I don't even know how the Bears are 4-3, if I'm being honest, but they are so.
I mean, they played Carolina. There's one right there. There's one reason. You know, like come on. You should beat Carolina. Caleb Williams should look really good
I'm
against
glad we play
Carolina,
Carolina next week.
you know? But he is 26 QBR,
Yeah,
Caleb Williams.
he's
You know,
pretty. He's struggling in his rookie
so
year.
let's just see who he's above.
Mm.
Deshaun Watson, Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, Gardner Minshew, Daniel Jones.
It's in good company.
Like he's Bo Nix is 20, right? Like so, and I wouldn't have called that, to be honest. I would not have called that because I put them in the same category. Maybe Bo Nix originally coming from an SEC school, maybe he gets a little reprieve, but like I just not a believer in Pac-12 quarterbacks, right? Like they could play like Herbert, he's good. He came out of Oregon, right? He's good, he's a good quarterback. He could sling the ball, but he's not a consistent winner. He's not that guy, like go make a
Yeah.
play. Go make a play. Joe Burrow goes and makes plays. Lamar Jackson goes and makes plays. Josh Allen goes and makes plays. Jaden Daniels, another rookie, goes and makes plays. Jalen Hurts, rounding out the top six, goes and makes plays recently.
Mm-hmm.
They just need to stick on that train. That's
Mm-hmm.
all. That's all I got to say about that. So, but I just, I don't. I'm not believing in the Bears hype at all. I agree with you.
Mm-mm.
I think that Arizona wins this game, and I think it's convincingly.
Mm. And I can see that. I could see it being uh like a 31-10 game.
Mm,
We already talked about our teams. We won't even go back there.
nah,
But Detroit, Green Bay. Detroit
Detroit just looks brutal. Like I don't know,
what?
they just look phenomenal, right?
They're my Super Bowl pick.
But they are going to Green Bay, and Green Bay is not a bad team. Now, is Love hurt? Did he get hurt again? I think he did. I don't know
Detroit is
what
just too much to handle offensively and defensively.
too much to handle. Jordan Love is questionable right now.
I can see it being a high scoring affair. Detroit has shown week in and week out that they could put up 40 points like it's nothing. Like it's nothing. Like
They've
it's a
also
video
shown they can
game.
give up 40 points, occasionally. So but it's a different ball game if Jordan Love's not playing, right? If Jordan Love's not playing, Green Bay has no shot whatsoever. Whatsoever. Right? You would have thought by losing Hutchinson, who was just a fifth gear motor going at you or coming at you, right? You would have thought that was gonna, be significantly impactful to their defense, but it hasn't been. They just get after it, and they got a coach that gets after it. I like Detroit in this game.
You like Green Bay?
No, Detroit.
Oh, yeah, I'm taking Detroit. I'm taking Detroit. I just every time I think, okay, Detroit's, not gonna be as they're not gonna put up 40 again. Do it again. Like not and not for nothing. I had the same thoughts about their defense taking a step back when Aiden Hutchinson went down. Nasty injury, by the way.
Nasty.
But Jared Goff is a 74% passer right now.
Yeah.
I don't know what his QBR is, but it's got to be top five. And
It's not.
every, I'm sorry.
Not. He's 23rd, but his completion percentage is 75%. His
Yeah.
QBR, so his quarterback rating's 115, which is number two behind Lamar Jackson.
And that's just passing now.
That's just his passer rating. But his QBR is 23rd.
Yeah, don't matter
Doesn't
because
matter.
every player that touches the ball offensively, they touch, they handle that ball like their life depends on it. They make it happen. And defensively, that defense has really continued to play at a high level.
Mhm.
So I just, I like Green Bay too. I really like Green Bay. I think they're a good team. I think that getting rid of Aaron Rodgers was one of the best things they could have done, right? Give Jordan Love an opportunity, and he showed them
Yep.
that he was the guy for them, the next guy. But the Lions are just too much. They overwhelm you, is what they do. They have you trying to figure, well, what do we do now?
Mm-hmm.
And you have no answer. And you just keep taking it. And you just say, can't they move the clock faster? Get this over with, Do they have to score again? Isn't there a mercy? No. They got to be the highest scoring team in the league. I haven't looked that statistic up, but they have to be at this point.
I mean, I was looking at last week's box. Pretty sure it was last week where they played the Titans. They scored 52 points. How many yards do you think Jared Goff? Well, you're looking at it too, right? He threw for 85 yards. They scored 52 points. You have the second highest passer rating in the league right now, and you threw for 85 yards and three tutties. Like, I mean,
They
I
can
take
beat
that
you in so many ways, is
all
what
day
that
long.
means.
You got Montgomery with a run, Gibbs with a 70-yard run, 8-yard pass, 1-yard pass, 3-yard pass from David Montgomery.
Wow.
A 90-yard punt return, 7-yard pass, and then a field goal.
Yeah.
It's
They
just
they
wild.
just beat you in so many ways. It's not even fair.
A 70-yard run for a tutty and a 90-yard punt return for a tutty. Like
Yep.
what? It's insane.
Yep.
Now again, it was against Tennessee, so let's look at that a little bit. But still, they put 52 points on the board.
52.
52. It's embarrassing.
38-point difference. That's absurd.
Yeah,
But that's Lions football this year.
yeah, yeah.
Who else we got?
We got Colts Vikings. I mean, do we even? It's in Minnesota.
I'm just impressed the Colts are 4-4, but I think the Vikings are going to win this game. They're playing good football this year. I
So
mean,
I
they
don't know
lost
the
last week
number.
to the Rams, and I don't think anybody saw that coming.
No, I don't know what out of those four wins, how many are Joe Flacco? Out of the four losses, how many are Joe Flacco? Anthony Richardson, which is a shame because I thought he was one of my guys to watch, right?
Mhm.
And apparently I was wrong on that one. He's not a good quarterback. You know, he's got a cannon of an arm, but he is not a good quarterback. You know,
Yeah, I think with Joe Flacco at the helm, you have a better chance of winning this game, but I don't think Minnesota's going to lose at home against the Colts. I don't see it happening.
nah.
I don't know what the spread is,
It's five and a
but
half for Minnesota.
yeah, I think Minnesota bounces back nicely.
Yeah,
They took an L to, and you know what? There's no shame in losing to a Matthew Stafford led offense who got both of his offensive weapons back.
yeah,
You could kind of see them getting hot when that happens, and it
yeah.
did. So it's okay. But yeah, I think we're both in agreement that Minnesota's going to take that one. Kansas City and Tampa Bay, Monday Night Football. I can see Tampa Bay taking this game. If I'm
I
being honest, I can see it happening.
The Chiefs are an 8.5 point spread.
Mm-hmm.
That's hefty.
Mm-hmm.
Hefty. Ooh, that is a parlay pick to send you over the top if I ever saw one, right? Like if you were going to take the Buccaneers, like you want to parlay that with like three or four other games to like try to get more bang for your buck. But that's the game that's like, that's the one that is egregious, right? Like, you know, it's going to give you the better odds. I mean, the Chiefs, they got to lose at some point, right?
Yep. I
Baker
think
not
Baker
having,
Mayfield
like,
is
I
gonna.
don't think Evans is playing yet. Um, Obviously, they lost Godwin for the season. Another gruesome injury, by the way. They don't have, is he not on full injury report? Is he playing? They don't even have him on the list.
He's probably on IR.
I don't think he is. He's out. They just have him as out.
hmm I
Hmm.
think Baker Mayfield, doesn't he lead the league in touchdown passes this year?
I don't know. He's got like 2,100 yards passing. I know that, which is second in the league. He's got 21 tutties, which leads the league.
I think Baker's gonna have a day, and he's gonna show everybody that I might be short in stature, but I got big balls, and I'm putting them on full display tonight. And I think he's gonna have a game. I mean, listen, the Chiefs have a really good defense, and that's the only reason they're 7-0 this year. The only reason.
Yeah.
I think if you get the right set of circumstances, they will lose. And for whatever reason, Baker Mayfield just seems to find another gear when called upon to do so. And I think this is the night. I think the Kansas City Chiefs are going to be 7-1 come Tuesday morning. Tampa 5-4. That's my upset game of the week.
Not, I'm not going to disagree with you. I'm going to jump on the Baker bandwagon as well, right? And I think that he can sling the rock. We know that, right? He's got a good tight end. They have a good running back. They could play some football. Yes, you're missing your top two receivers. Like that's let's not gloss over that fact at all, right? Those two have been perennial best tandem in the league, top three tandem in the league. I think their entire career, right? That no one's really shined about, you know.
Correct.
So the fact that they're sitting on the sideline, both of them, I don't think deters Baker. I think he takes the challenge, right? I still got my boy that I went to Oklahoma with, Sterling Shepard, called him back for a season. Let's go get one in Kansas City, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
it just needs the young guys to catch the ball. I'm going to throw it. You catch it.
Yep. I think the Swifties going to be crying Monday night, and they're going to take it. So I don't know that it's going to be. Um, I think it's going to be a very competitive game. I don't know how high scoring it's going to be though. The Chiefs' offense is just not very good this year, but their defense has really held up the rear for them. So yeah, but I'm taking Tampa by a field goal.
I'm interested to see if Hopkins has a resurgence at all.
Yeah, they
Getting
just
out
signed him, didn't they?
getting out of Tennessee and that, wasteland for receivers,
Mm.
right? Like that's where receivers go to die,
You
you
got
know?
AJ Brown from there.
Yeah, we did,
Hmm
you know. Um, but like there's been a lot of dudes that went to Tennessee and that's where their career ended, right? So it'd be interesting to see what Hopkins can do with Mahomes. We know he can catch the ball, right?
And we know Patrick can throw it.
So it'll be interesting. But I agree. It's going to be it's going to be a dogfight, right? Like I do not see a high scoring affair here.
Mm-mm.
You know,
Yeah.
um, In fact, I see it going really boring for 3 quarters, and then the fourth quarter gets super exciting, which is the worst thing to happen for a guy my age because like I just want to go to bed, right? And I don't want to be sucked into the TV because damn it, this is getting good. Now I got to stay up.
A bunch of the night games have been that way this year too.
Yeah, they have.
That Thursday night game, God, what a that shit was hard to watch, man. It was barely watchable.
Yeah,
In fact, the Jets won, and it was still one of the most unwatchable games to be aired this year.
unwatchable.
But yeah, I didn't think that Jets would win. So kudos to them, though. They won that game.
Do you
But
know
I'm
who's
liking
number?
this LA Rams Seattle Seahawk matchup too.
I do too. And
Yeah.
I think a lot of it depends on the health of his receivers again, right? Um, you know, because they don't have really anybody in LA after Nakua and Cooper Cup. They just don't, right? And, I'd like to say that Kyrene Williams is a good running back, but like, I don't know if he's that good. you know. They've been talking about dealing Stafford, right? And sending him to a team that's, in the hunt, but maybe needs a quarterback or an upgraded quarterback. So, they're real close to pulling the trigger. So if the Rams don't win this game, I see a little bit of a fire sale coming out of LA. I see them trying to wheel and deal some players out, right? I think it's Seattle's game to lose, though. Yeah, I just do. I think there's nobody that's risen to the top, although San Fran's starting to make a little bit more noise. But the NFC West is wide open right now.
Yeah.
But the Rams have to win to keep pace. Because if they lose this game, that's a loss in division and knocks you back a peg as well.
Yeah. Well, you got Geno Smith leading the league in passing yards. I
Yep.
think he leads the league.
Yeah, he does.
Um, Matthew Stafford, it's hard to say what's going to happen with them, but I think I'm liking your train of thought and where you're going with this because we thought this was going to happen last year
Yeah.
and they ended up making the playoffs,
Mm-hmm.
right? But they did so well picking up players in the few picks they had left because they gave up a lot to get Stafford. But they did well in their late round draft picks that they had left. I mean, they picked up Nakua, and he's been like a really good receiver for them. So where do they go from here? If and how much is left in the tank for Matthew Stafford? I don't know. I mean, we can have a whole nother discussion on that. But in terms of this game, this is a hard one for me to call, right? Because a week had had the Rams lost next week after getting some help at the receiver position, I'd be like the Seahawks are likely going to win this game. But because the Rams were able to win um against the Vikings and they look good doing it, I don't know. I don't know. You thought when they lost uh God, why can't I think of his name right now? The guy that retired, the defensive tackle.
Aaron Donald.
It's Aaron Donald. You think that their defense would have suffered a huge blow, right? But their defense has been relatively consistent. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they're 10th in the league right now.
Yeah.
So they're still pretty good, right? But and offensively, I'm Matthew Stafford hasn't had his best year, but he hasn't had his receivers either. And they're still talking about dealing Cooper Cup, right? When
Yeah.
they are on the field together, though, they produce at a pretty high level. I don't know what's going to happen here. Um, but I'm gonna give the nod to Seattle because they're in Seattle. I think they're in Seattle, right?
Yep. Yep.
That's the only reason I'm gonna get a nod to Seattle. I like what Geno Smith has found in Seattle. He's playing really well. He's still got one of the best receiving tandems in the NFL. I mean, they're not at the top of the list, but they're pretty damn good. With DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett, they're pretty damn good, and they've got a hell of a running back. So, I think Walker's going to be good. He's going to continue to play well, but I don't know. I'm the only reason I'm giving a nod to Seattle though, because I can see the Rams going in there and lighting shit up too. The only reason I'm giving a nod to Seattle is because they're playing in Seattle. I don't know what the score is going to be. I don't even know what Vegas has on this one.
I don't know what to expect out of this game, right? Like Geno Smith leads the league in total yards passing, right? Almost 2,200, right? Like
Yeah,
he's on a really good pace, 8 games in. So double that, you're at like 44. So we'll say he's on a 4,500 yard year pace.
yeah,
He's only got 8 touchdowns with 7 interceptions,
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah.
so you're throwing the ball, but you're not getting into the end zone, right? That's a problem for me.
But they got
Uh,
Walker to finish that off for him.
yeah, they do. But he only has 8 touchdowns. Well, I don't know if only is the right word. That's a good amount for a running back right now.
No, Walker's got six. Charbonnet has four.
Okay. I was looking at Williams on the Rams.
Gotcha.
Um Puka Nakua is questionable. If he doesn't play, it's Seattle all day. Right? Like I just, they can't do enough with just Cooper Kupp and Atwell at the second receiver spot. They just can't, right? Um, and they're home, and like this is one of those games where the 12th man comes alive, right? It's a division game. They're hyped up. I see Seattle winning the game.
Yeah, me too.
Spread is Rams 1.5.
Mm, toss up.
Toss up.
Yeah, whoever has the ball last wins.
Yeah, pretty much.
Huh. Yeah. All right, cool.
Yeah. All right, my man.
We didn't, I don't think we need to even talk about that Halloween party on Thursday night where those kids were dressed like NFL football players running around MetLife Stadium. That was horrible.
Do you know that Aaron Rodgers is number 4 in the league for overall passing yards?
Really?
Swear to God.
What are they? 2-6 now or 3-6 now?
I
Three and
think they're
six now.
3-6, but he is number 4 in the league
I would not have thought that at all.
with overall. He's got 2,100 yards passing.
Wow.
That's the crazy stat of the day for
That's
me
your crazy stat of the day.
because I would not have guessed that. You know, and him being number 4 in the league for overall passing yards. I would
Wait a minute.
have
Are you
them.
looking at 2024
Yeah, yeah,
through 8 weeks, 9 weeks?
9 weeks. So he's got a game up to be at 2,100, right? He's got a game up on Geno. So, I mean, Geno's going to spread that gap a little bit. Some others are going to catch up. Kirk Cousins is right behind him. Brock Purdy's right behind him, but Purdy's got a bye week. Lamar Jackson's not far off, so he'll probably catch him. Joe Burrow should catch him. Dak Prescott, who's only got 7 games played, he might catch him. Outside of that, so he's still going to stay in the top 10 at the
Yeah.
end of the week.
Hmm.
If you go yards per game, do they even do that? Yeah. Yards per game. He drops down to 13.
Hmm.
Still, you know, like top half of the league in yards per game passing. I wouldn't have guessed that.
Yeah. I
Anyway,
wouldn't have guessed that either. That is a little surprising, but okay. All right.
anyway,
Well, that's a show.
yeah. Uh, hey, let's try that other platform next time.
Yeah,
I'm locked into it. I haven't really played around with it all that much, but it's relatively easy. I just send you the link, you click in, we're good to go.
that's exactly right.
You
You
know,
talking about Riverside?
yeah,
Yeah, it's pretty good. I like
yeah,
it a lot.
yeah. So we're gonna give that a go next time. See if we get a little fancier. Outside of that, enjoy the football games. Everybody get out to vote on Tuesday. Do your part or sit
Yeah,
down
we
and
we
shut up.
voted already.
Good for you. Good for
Hmm.
you. I know
We
a lot of people have, man.
do
I've
the
been reading a
mail-in
lot where
ballots.
lines have been crazy in a lot of places, right? Like people just,
Yeah.
you know,
Kelly stood in line for 4.5 hours for the last
stop.
presidential election, and I did the mail-in, and I was like, "You're out of your mind," and it was cold.
Yeah.
And she stood outside. I said, "I will never stand outside in the line to vote again if I don't have to." So, and I
And
won't.
meanwhile, here in Altoona, it takes me all of about 5 minutes to walk in the church and throw my ballot in.
Oh wow, yeah. It's
I mean,
crazy out here in Monroe
I
County.
don't go at 7 in the morning, right? Like I think
Hmm.
most people here in town probably go early, right?
Hmm.
Just get like that's the nature of the culture here, right?
Right,
So like I'm going mid-afternoon, late afternoon, I'm just walking in, there's no one there, right? Even all the people, campaigning, they're gone, right? There's no one. So I just go in, lock it in, call it a day.
right. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So voting is important. Anybody who's watching, make sure you go out and do your civic duty and participate in the voting process.
Yeah.
And by this time next week, we might know who the next president is. We might. We don't know. A lot of
A
counting that has to happen, but we'll
lot of
see.
counting, a lot of finagling. We'll see what
Hmm.
happens. It's going to be an interesting week next week, but
Yeah.
uh, we'll talk some football and, you know, enjoy your games tomorrow, everyone.
All right.
All right. Peace.
Peace.